Wow, welcome everybody to Mark Bajerski YouTube channel. We have a special guest here today. I want first of all to see if the sound is okay. So could you all give me either a thumbs up or a yes, the sound is fine before we start our chat. Just a yes. There's normally like a 5 or 10 second delay. So we'll just see if it's a yes. We got a thumbs up and we got a yes. Welcome everybody.
Perfect.
So there's some people already in the chat, 27 of you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Those who are on the chat are probably really interested in my top. No, sorry. Jani's top. No, sorry. In fact, I'm looking at it thinking, you know, I think I've put a little bit of weight on Jani because this maybe wasn't the best of tops to put on, but I remember I bought this from Bali. I did buy it from Bali and made a video. It's pretty cool. Eh? I can fly with this on.
Perfect.
I can fly if I do that.
You gotta be faster than that, mate.
Yeah, well, yours is an upside down by the looks of it. Yours is an upside down hand of Fatima, no?
Yeah.
Is it like the hand of Fatima?
Hamza.
You know your stuff, mate. No time, it says.
Yep. No time at all. Oh, it's funny that the Christians tell us that it's actually the hand of Mary.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is it Mother Mary? I always make the at school we were meant to study. I was brought into a Catholic school, and it was all about Mother Mary, and then there was Mary Magdalene, and that was it. That was my confusion then. I didn't know who was who anymore. So
too many Marys.
Too many Marys. And I tell you what, if you shout Mary here, Maria, everybody turns in the restaurant and looks. But anyway, welcome everybody. Well, thanks for being here. And well, today we've got a very special guest. We should have done this a long time ago, but I always think to myself, the right time, Jani, is the right time.
Exactly.
So if you just like to introduce yourself as your name, because I would get it completely wrong. It's Jani, and what's your last name, Jani?
My last name is Aaltonen.
Say it again.
Aaltonen.
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 Yes.
Wow.
Actually, if you translate it directly to English, it means little wave.
Little wave. Yeah. I would say you're far more than a little wave in the world of healing. Yeah, healing and crystal world. So I want to introduce Jani to you all because Jani has been a friend of mine for how long? When did we first meet, Jani, personally?
7 years ago.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah. And how did we initially get to meet? How did we connect?
I took part in your pure energy healing course.
And how did you hear about the pure energy healing course?
That is a funny story.
Is it? Well, I think we'd like to hear the funny story. And go on, tell us.
Actually, it was my cousin.
You've never told me the story, have you?
Haven't I?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Go on. Tell us.
My cousin somehow came across your website.
Okay.
And sent me the link. And at first I thought that, okay, it's in Spain. My mom was living here at that time. And I thought, I can't get a vacation on that time when the course was on. But then again, I got it. I got the vacation, came here. I think it was February.
February, 7 years ago in February.
Yeah.
Ish.
6 or 7. 16, I think it was. 2016.
Right. So your cousin sent you an email and a message.
Just a link.
Just a link.
Yeah.
And why did he send you a link?
I have no. Well, she knew that I was a Reiki healer.
You were already a healer.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So, so this might interest you, and I was yes, it does. So that's how it went.
Amazing. Yeah. So you know, from just looking at that without even realizing it was created, it happened. So you end up knocking on the door here on the day of the course.
Yeah, that's how we met.
Yeah. And for our friends watching this now, because they're probably interested in it, What was your story on them 4 days? What actually happened for you in them 4? Do you still remember them 4 days?
I can remember the magic, but what happened on those 4 days, I have no recollection whatsoever.
It's really difficult to explain to people.
Yeah.
When people ask you about healing,
Yeah.
and you say it's really difficult to explain because I can't you forget, right?
Yeah. It's the same with the healing.
Exactly.
When I do the healing,
yeah,
most of the time I have no idea what I'm doing.
Exactly. And people look at you, and then it's true, they judge you by like, but you're meant to know. You're meant to know ABC, and if you don't know, then you don't know what you're doing. It's a mysterious thing that has always shocked me. But you spent 4 days here, and then after the 4 days, can I ask you, before them 4 days, were you into crystals at all? Were you massively into crystals or not? Or was it just
a little bit?
A little bit into crystals. So from taking the 4-day pure energy healing course, and then you left here, what then happened? What to get to where you are now?
Well, then, as you know, I took part in the crystal healing course as well.
I didn't remember that. So you then came back then?
Yes.
And you took the crystal healing course.
But in between, I took more and more interesting crystals.
Right.
And
so
I started.
Did something happen then that made you?
No, actually, it was my girlfriend.
Wow.
So I said, "Why don't you do something with those stones that you have?" And I was like, "Okay, I might."
Behind every great man, there's a woman who's rolling her eyes. Brilliant. So you started working on crystals, and you started having a new kind of friendship with them. You started looking at them a little bit different and seeing them in a different light.
Yeah.
So when you took the 4-day course in crystals and you left, how did you get from there to where you are now? Because I want to explain to the people what you're doing now, but if you can, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think the biggest thing I learned during those 4 days was that you can read internet about what amethyst is like, what it does and what it does not do.
Yeah.
But what I learned is that it's different every single time. If you feel, let's say, sad, and you are drawn to an amethyst, then you need that amethyst's energy. And it doesn't matter what crystal it is, but you don't have to know that, okay, this crystal does this and that. And when you feel sad, please pick this one. You are naturally drawn into the one that you need.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So that's
how I do it.
And from there, as you were getting into crystals, were you going to like crystal stores and hunting crystals? And was it a bit like that the crystal would call you when you went into a shop? And was there times that you would maybe scour through the internet and see something that you felt drawn to? And is that how you kind of started building up the crystal collection?
Yeah, exactly like that.
And then from there, Jani, because I don't want to tell everybody what you do just yet, but I want to know from that point to where you then, because a lot of pure energy healers, what they do is they take the 4-day course, whether it's the healing course or whether it's the crystal healing course, and then they go off onto their own. This top is really freaking me out a bit. It looks like, I don't know, a wet t-shirt competition. Sorry, guys.
We can do that if you want.
I'm going to change it. I feel really weird.
Come on. Yeah, he's gone. He will be back shortly.
I need to lose some weight. Hang on. I'd rather feel comfortable than uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. Okay.
Oh, I'm almost matching colors.
Do you know what's going to fool everybody? If anybody clicks on it halfway through saying this isn't the same video.
Yeah.
Just to fool people. So basically,
I should change too.
No, you look great. So where we were was, I mentioned that people. I think what I try to do when people come to the Pure Energy Healing course is to encourage them to find their own path. And once they've left, I find it so encouraging when people say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And when I found out what you were doing, it was like, this is really beautiful. So tell us, from leaving here, because from leaving here doing the Pure Energy Crystal course, and you're a trained, what's the word?
Optometrist.
Optometrist.
Yes.
So you're trained with working with eyes and things like that. But then you told me a great story. Tell everybody, so what happened from there?
Well, once again, the crystals, they started just accumulating. I had quite a few, let's put it this way. And once again, my girlfriend, you have quite a lot of those. Why don't you really do something with them?
Brilliant.
And I started making these wire wrap pendants.
With what? What did you wrap them with? I know you say wire, but what kind of wire?
It usually was copper or silver-plated copper. Copper, because copper has the ability to enhance the crystal's abilities.
Amazing. There's something about copper, eh?
Oh, yeah. I love copper nuggets.
Yeah. I have a load, and they sell like hotcakes. But what's fascinating now with copper is that people are using it for their plants. So they stick this in and then wrap it from the bottom upwards, and the energy that comes from copper and the universe. It's kind of fascinating because the evidence is there that the vegetables, the fruits are growing like they've never grown before.
Yeah.
And it's such a simple thing to do.
It is.
So I can imagine that when the copper's around you, it's actually bringing in that same effect, surely.
Yeah, yep.
So
actually, it has an ability to kill bacteria as well.
Incredible, and that's scientifically proved.
Yes,
that is amazing. Now,
as is silver.
Yeah, silver, gold, copper, all natural, all beautiful, all healing for our body. You're absolutely right. So you then started doing this wrapping. I imagine you do it in a certain way that was characteristic of your energy and the way you feel. But
yes.
Did you also do anything with the crystal, or did you just wrap it and then,
I know what you do with them.
Yeah.
You place energy on them.
Yeah.
And I thought of that, doing that.
Yeah. And
I consulted my guides.
Yeah.
And they are sarcastic, as I am. And they were like, really? Do you need to charge them?
And
do you really think that we are not doing anything while you are working on them?
True. Jesus Christ, that makes so much sense.
And of course, every time a piece of jewelry goes away from me, I give it a final boost, just for the end recipient's highest good.
No, you've stopped me in my tracks there. No, you're right. It isn't sarcastic. It's actually damn. It's everything that we do. We're working on that energy, working in that energy. Can I ask you? Do you work on your crystals when you're sick or ill or feeling bad? When you're making a crystal to sell?
No. I never work on them if I'm sick.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the last time I was sick. But if I'm feeling down or sad, then no. Okay. No readings, no healings, no crystals.
So then it would make sense to me that spirit was, already guiding you by saying, well, the time to work on it when you're feeling good and you're feeling happy, and your energy, the energy of your spirit, we're all working together. Yeah, I mean, that sounds beautiful and it makes so much sense. I never really considered it that way. For me, it's like, well, I'm comfortable trying to work with a certain frequency and energy that I feel. And I guess it's just me. It's just who I am. And everybody has their own unique way of doing it.
There is no right or wrong in here.
I agree. Completely agree with you. So then what happened when you started working with your copper and your silver and your, what was the other? Copper, silver, and
gold.
So when you were wrapping all of these things, doing it, did you specifically think, I'm going to sell them, or did it organically work that way, or what did you think at first?
It started by accident. A friend of mine who lives in Holland, she had a friend, a Dutch, actually Swedish girl who lives in Holland as well, and she had breast cancer, if I remember correctly. And she wanted me to make her something to ease the pain in mind, mostly.
Right.
And it just started, you know, snowballing.
Do you know how, what you, did you meditate on that? Did something pop into your head, which crystal you would use?
I used malachite. I don't know why.
Right. You just felt drawn to malachite.
Yeah.
And then, so what did you make her? What did you make her?
Malachite? It was a bracelet.
It was a bracelet.
Yeah.
Okay. And that, from there, that was sent to her. And then what happened? Anything else? What then from then on?
Well, some of her friends ordered something from me. And then I thought to myself, now it was me, not my girlfriend. Surprise. Okay. I like doing this.
Yeah.
I like making these. Why don't I learn a proper way to do this?
Wow.
And I tried to get into the goldsmithing school.
Yeah.
And I got in.
And you got in?
Yeah.
And was that difficult to get in, or was like how, you know?
I think there were 8 or 9 persons on the same class as I was.
So you were working full time, I guess?
Actually, I took some time off from the work. I had to.
Really?
Yeah.
That's incredible, guys.
I did.
So you took some time. I mean, just the thought of being able to do it, or even going to your boss and saying, look, I'd like to take some time off to pursue another career.
Yep.
Was pretty awesome. So that went okay.
Well, actually, I was a little bit fed up with the company that I was working for at the moment. And I told my boss that if I don't get into that school, I'm going to quit. So
you gave them an ultimatum, and they said, look, don't worry, go and do what you need to do. Yeah. We're here. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's takes some courage. That's amazing. So then you took some time off, and then you found, could I ask you, is this guy who teaches goldsmith work, is he, is he good? Is he really good? Is he?
Oh, yeah. It was just perfect for me. Old-fashioned guy.
Yeah.
Taught me techniques that are no longer taught in schools.
Is he a master?
Yeah, he's a master goldsmith.
And a master, just so you all know, guys, if you look in certain texts, you'll find that the meaning of master is over 50,000 hours of consistent work. That's what generally they say a football player is. So a professional, a master at something, it's normally 50,000 hours. So how many years is that? I don't know. But I think he's probably a master, and more than a master, because how old would he be now? This chap?
I would say that he's around his 70s.
So he was still teaching in his, was
65 or so.
So it was about 5 years when you took this course.
Yeah.
And how long did the course last for?
Usually it takes 3 years to complete.
So it's a 3-year course, and in that course, it teaches you how to mold and melt.
Yes.
Melt, and then make molds. Do you sometimes make them with like
I don't make molds at all.
So it's all by hand.
Yes.
And do you have is it like painting a picture? Do you have like an idea before you start?
Yes.
Does the idea come to you through what you visually see around, or just like all of a sudden you'll see something that comes from nowhere?
Actually, both.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like when you work with crystals, do you sometimes see the crystal and then say that's going to be beautiful for that, or do you see the artwork of you're making the jewelry and say that artwork is it's more the artwork that comes before the crystal, or the crystal becomes?
Actually, for me, it's the other way around.
So which is it then?
So I love working with natural raw pieces.
Okay.
And then you really have to work in terms of the crystal, and you have to mold the metal to suit the crystal. Rather than making a ring, you make a band, beautiful band, and then you take a cabochon that is, for instance, it's calibrated. It's like 3 millimeters wide, 5 long. And then you just set it there.
It's almost like a program It's like a robot doing this.
Yeah.
What you're saying is that you don't want that program.
No.
You want interesting things that make you think more and use your creativity.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
So you really have to think more when you first have the crystal, and then you think, okay, this would make a beautiful pendant. And then you have to think about the mounting. How will I ever get this crystal
to mount?
Yeah,
that is an art. That is, to me, creativity is highest. I think that's beautiful. I had a chat with you the other day, and you were telling me something about a crystal. Would you like to tell everybody, as somebody who works as a jeweler, now that you see this, you can all see this, guys, right? It's actually mounted with a claw setting. So Jani's going to tell you, as he's making claw settings, if this claw setting is his high standards of claw setting. So do you want to tell us what you would do?
Claws are kind of like tricky in that way that if they are not properly put against the stone, they can actually, if you're wearing a woolen sweater, the material of the sweater can get in between the claw and the stone, and it can actually a little bit bend the claw, and the crystal can fall off. What my master goldsmith told me, that grow a beard, boy.
It's brilliant.
Run the setting through your beard, and if it nicks you, one of the claws is still loose.
And it needs to be.
It needs to be pushed against the stone.
Amazing. That's brilliant.
And for ladies,
yeah,
he said that buy a lot of pantyhose. That will do the same trick as a beard.
Like
yeah.
That. So if it catches,
yes,
it wasn't mounted correctly.
Exactly.
So these are from the beautiful people of Bali, who this is their life, their profession, and they have kind of a set way of doing things. Whereas when you go to like kind of Jani's work, because it's like an individual thing, like I guess that these are made obviously for the crystal, because you see they're made for the crystal, but the settings here are not going to be like your settings. I think yours are going to be slightly different, right? They're going to be more, I don't know, you're going to spend more time. Like, how long would you spend on a setting like that?
Starting from scratch,
yes,
I would say that day and a half, 2 days.
So 2 days. So the difference with my goldsmiths and silversmiths, that could be done in an hour.
Yeah. You
see the difference?
Yes.
So people have to understand as well that when Jani makes jewelry, it's bespoke, right? Bespoke, I can always never get that right, but it's made to a specific way, not precisely the client's way, but your way.
Exactly.
And everything is made specifically to that jewelry. So you can understand that. For me, I love Jani's work. I understand his work. I appreciate his work. But on a level of business, am I going to be able to sell that personally if Jani works on it for 2.5 days? It's going to be a little bit more challenging for me to sell. Whereas if I make them in Bali, the price is much better, and they're affordable in the sense that, like, people who are on a standard wage, then they can afford that. So your stuff is bespoke, so it takes time. How long is normally one piece? How long from start to finish? Would it be like 2 days, 3 days, 4 days?
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
If it's a very, very, let's say, basic bezel setting,
yeah,
it's, I would say, 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
But if you have multiple crystals that you have to put together,
exactly,
then it's going to take time.
And what about like a ring, which, you know, you put your things in there and you do your designs and
could take days.
Days and days. Yeah. So I understand that makes sense, because when you look at your website, you see it's beautiful pieces.
Thank you.
And they're, to me, when I see them, I think, you remind me of me, but your level of work is because you've embraced it far more than me, because you've taken 2 years, 3 years off your life, and you said, you know what, I love crystals. It makes complete sense because I wanted to do it. I've wanted to do it many times. Take time off and start working with silver and gold. But I don't know. Some people have that gift. I'm not so sure if I'd have that gift. So I always stop myself. So I think I fear that I can't do it perfect. And if I can't do it perfect, then I wouldn't let anybody have it. So, but I like, for me, I have a lot of admiration for you, Jani. I think you've done something that I wish I'd, like, everybody wants to get in a helicopter and fly. I'd like to go in a helicopter, but nobody ever does it. Oh, I'd love one day I'm going to get in a helicopter, but nobody does it. It's like, oh yeah, one day I'm going to learn to play the piano. Nobody does it, but it's a lovely idea. So what you've done is you've said, no, I'm bloody doing it. And you did it. And that's where the admiration comes from the bottom of my heart. Your work is beautiful. Your jewelry is beautiful. Personally speaking, I think that if I was buying a piece of your jewelry, it would be maybe once every year that I'd save up for a piece and I'd treasure it. I'd look after it. I would not swim with it. I would not shower with it. I would not. Do you agree?
Yes, never do that. Although, sorry, most of the crystals can take water and sweat, but there are soft crystals, like, for instance, opal.
Yeah.
Turquoise is another one.
Exactly.
What else? It's hard to remember because
Malachite.
Yes, very soft.
Yeah. There's loads of soft ones.
Yes.
And I actually bought some soft ones down at work, and every time I sent a group of crystals off together, one particular one kept breaking into the powder form that it was, because it wasn't that strong. So yeah.
And some of the softer ones, like turquoise and malachite, you have to be very careful when buying those, because Chinese are clever.
Can I just grab one?
Yeah. So there are a lot of fakes around. Can you find one? That's a huge piece.
Yeah.
And as we can see from this one, turquoise is so soft that usually it is treated so that it gets a little bit hotter. I can't remember if it's some sort of a resin or epoxy that they use, and usually they add a little bit color to it as well. But if it's totally natural with no treatments at all, it's so soft. I have some South African totally natural turquoise, and it wouldn't last in a ring or in a pendant.
Yeah. So what you're looking at there is actually a fake from China. Is it pretty good?
It's actually pretty good, but the only thing, well, there you can see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the color,
that's exactly what you were saying. So the color here is kind of like white, where they've missed a bit, and it's powder. Basically, it's ground. It is actually, if you test it on the machine, it's a crystal. So what they do is they mix certain powders together with natural powders, and you get the kind of original, but then when you crack it open, you'll see it's just a powder.
Yeah.
And that is a pretty good copy.
It is.
Now that cost me 50 euros. If this was a real turquoise, what do you think that would
you
cost?
could add a couple of zeros to the end.
And more sometimes, depending. So that is like, for me, another subject. But going back to, working on crystals. So during the day, are you inspired by your day and your visual experience to making a piece? Or is it more now these days that somebody will send you a message and say, look, Jani, I'd like you to make me a piece from Moldavite? Or do you like working with Moldavite?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Tektite or
Libyan gold tektite.
Why do you call it Libyan gold? Is there a reason why they call it? Because in my book, it's Libyan desert glass.
Yes, I know. But another name for that is Libyan gold tektite.
Why do they call it gold? Because it actually looks like gold when you look at it.
Yeah.
So what is it about meteorites that you love so much? Is there something?
I don't know. I think it's the ET power in them.
Right. Makes sense, eh?
Yeah.
It's just something extraordinary, right?
Exactly.
I can't really explain it neither. How do you feel your own understanding of Libyan gold, okay, and Moldavite? What would you say the difference? If somebody was going to say, right, why should I buy that and why should I buy that one? How would you differentiate?
To me, the Libyan desert class, it has always been like Moldavite's gentle little sister.
Right.
It is very, very powerful.
Right.
But it doesn't hit you in the face with a sledgehammer. So the energy is it's soothing, subtle. And it's subtle.
But it's still powerful.
Very.
I kind of got to agree with you there.
Yeah.
A Moldavite.
Funny story, when I got my first piece, it was 18.7 grams. So It was pretty big.
Yeah.
Took it in my hand, went out the shop, and I almost puked. It just hit my stomach so hard.
Wow.
I was totally red, the famous Moldavite lush.
Yeah. Wow.
And I felt so sick.
Wow.
For 5 minutes or so.
Wow.
And then I realized that, okay, maybe that 5 gram piece would have.
But you were drawn to that one. That must have cost a lot of money. And it
did.
When you buy it, do you ever feel bad about how much you spend? I've never felt bad about how much I spend on crystals. For some reason, it's never affected me. That if I go and buy something else, I'm like, oh. But a crystal, it's like I've never had that guilt feeling.
No, me neither.
It's over other people that make me feel guilty, saying, do you think you've got enough crystals now? I get it all the time, even my staff. You know what? Maybe, why don't you just maybe concentrate on the crystals you've got? It's like, sorry? What did you just say? How dare you?
I get that a lot.
Yeah. So I don't know how you're enjoying this thus far. Guys, there's 110 beautiful souls on here. Jani is a friend of mine for a few years now. We bump into each other in the village. Do you like Mias Pueblo?
I love the energy up here. That's why I always keep coming back.
Do you walk in the mountains at all?
All the time. I've been here for 10 days now?
I don't know.
Something like that. And I've been up the mountain at least 7 or 8 times.
You're joking. You're really hooked on the mountain then.
Oh, yeah.
It pulls you there.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever met Tim, who sells crystals, who comes to the village sometimes?
No.
You should meet him. Basically travels the world. He does a bit of painting every now and again, cash. And then when he gets enough cash, he just goes to countries where crystals are, and he basically hunts them free of charge. He just digs for them.
Oh, okay.
And then comes back to different shops all over the place and swaps. And he's got, when I first met him, I thought he was crazy. And my wife thought he was wonderful. And I'm like, he's nuts. What's wrong with him? Get a job. And now I'm like, Jesus Christ, I so admire him. And tells me the story about Mias Pueblo and the mountain that we have behind us, that what he does when he comes here, he sleeps in caves. And in the mountain, he knows where all the caves are.
Yeah.
So he sleeps under the stars. And he's actually said to me that he's experienced, and we don't really want to go down this path, but he's experienced things that have come down as beams as light, have moved to him as a light and then shut off again. And wow, is that kind of incredible stories of up there. But there's something about the mountain that I write about in my book. In quite a few of my books, there's something very special about the mountain when it pulls you, eh?
Yeah. And something magical happened today. Actually, I spent 4 hours up there.
Go on.
It's not unusual to see an eagle up there. You usually see one, or at least once or twice a week. Today, I was up there. I was like, what is happening? There must be at least 6 to 10 eagles.
Wow.
And I was like, they keep coming more and more from behind my back.
Wow.
They were circling around there, and all of a sudden they just took a little bit more height and vanished over the top.
That's beautiful.
There must have been like 20, 25 eagles.
Wow, never seen that on the mountain. That's
me
amazing.
neither, and I've been up there a lot.
What did you take that as a sign of, some kind of sign for yourself? Did it feel like?
It felt good. It felt like that even the eagles wanted to say that welcome back, because I haven't been here for what, 4 years, 5 years now.
Wow,
because,
time flies, eh?
Yeah. Well, we had that some kind of a flu here going on. So it's kind of like prevented.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that. It's gone. It's gone. It's here. It's a puppet. It's a puppet. Look, it's here again. Yeah, fantastic. So, Jani, we've now introduced you to everybody on here. What's your favorite 10 crystals? Top 10 crystals,
Top
please.
10. Okay, well, I will have to start with Moldavite, Libyan gold tektite. I love sapphire.
Why?
I don't know. I really don't know. Raw, and actually sapphire is probably, for me, if I buy something that is faceted, then it's going to be sapphire.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I get that completely.
Yeah. And actually ruby is very nice as well.
Ruby, yeah.
Emerald would be nice, but from a goldsmith's point of view, it's so fragile. So it's very, very tricky to mount.
Yeah. So what next? We're on 4. Opal?
We're on 4. Opal, yes.
5.
Then I would say
I've seen some very unusual crystals on your website, mate, that I've never even seen.
Cavansite is nice.
Cavansite.
Something. And for some reason, I love brucite.
Brucite? Oh, yeah. You sound like me.
But that, again, is very, very soft.
Brucite is very difficult. For every 20, there's at least 1 or 2 that just break.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with it.
It's very soft.
Yeah.
How many? 7.
7. Yeah. Have you ever worked with tektite?
Oh, yeah. And I've been trying to find a little bit. My pieces are pretty big. So the pendant would be like this.
Wow, yeah. So you like tektite.
Yeah.
So I added that to it.
And meteorites. They are not crystals.
They are crystals. They are. So
Sorta.
what meteorite? Well, we've already said 2. So any other meteorites that you like?
Well, the iron meteorites that you can find in, for instance, in Russia.
Yeah.
Samshan.
Have you ever heard of Alexandrite?
Yes, extremely rare, extremely expensive.
I've got 20 pieces coming. I've got 20 pieces
natural.
coming. They're natural, yeah, but where mine come from and not from where they normally come from, which is Russia. Mine come from Africa, and there is actually mines that are actually Alexandrite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But there is another actually color changing crystal from Turkey, or Turkiyet nowadays, called, I think the commercial name is Zultanite.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that, again, very excellent cleavage
though.
when mounting.
How much is that to buy?
Oh, I can't remember. Sorry.
Last time I bought some, it was a lot of money.
Yeah, it is when it's gem quality.
Yeah, it was gem quality. It was a lot of money. I think it was about 900 euros for 1 piece.
Yeah.
But there's a lovely crystal that I like from the UK, and it's from the Diana Maria mine, and it's a form of fluoride. And
the Blue John?
No, it's from a mine called Diana Maria, and if you go into the light, it changes color from when you come into the dark. So it goes purple or green, and it's beautiful. It's really beautiful, and the energy of that is incredible. So and
one is actually one of my favorites. You can't really make very pretty jewelry out of it, but it comes from Wales. Preseli bluestone.
I've heard of this, but I've never had it.
It's actually the same stuff that Stonehenge is made of.
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I've never had a piece put in my hand.
Yeah.
So what does it feel like?
Ancient.
Is it?
Yeah.
You just feel that wisdom.
Yeah.
It's incredible, eh?
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with any of the Stonehenge rock? A lot of people, I know it's illegal to touch, but some people used to take it many years ago.
Yeah, I've never seen even, or only the pictures.
Yeah, there's also Hadrian's Wall. Somebody brought a piece of Hadrian's Wall to me and gave it to me, and like, yeah, it's very strange energies of the stone, very strange energies. But I've got some really unusual pieces that. Let me see if I can find one. I don't know if you. Let me see if I can find some pieces. Just like, I don't know what you make of that, but I get stuff sent like that to me all the time, and I don't know whether it's jet. I don't know. You know,
it's too heavy for jet.
Maybe you're right. It is. Yeah, but I don't know. Is that signed? No. But apparently there's something in that. Maybe we'll show everybody. But yeah, sure. that was given to me by. Well, I can tell you the story. While I was in Bali with Don Tolman and Leila Satie, we did a work like a retreat, and one of the guys there had told us the story, because everybody normally has a beautiful story to tell, that he'd planted over 10,000 trees from where he came from. And he was so into this, you know, planting, and like, I was so inspired. And when I'd finished, I came back, and this was waiting for me in the academy. And he said it's extremely special. And I don't really know much about it. Maybe you guys might know more than me. So it looks like it's some kind of animal with an eye. It looks like the mouth is there. So it looks like some kind of, I don't know, on the back.
Or it is just some sort of an entity.
I don't know, but I don't know what it, you know, I don't know what it is, but apparently it's very special. So I keep everything that is very special to one side, but I have loads of stuff like that. Up here, loads of bits and pieces everywhere. With like really unusual.
I remember those.
Yeah, do you remember them? I'll just show you this one here.
Before I forget, my 10th crystal would be shungite.
Shungite. Why? Tell us about shungite. What is it about shungite? Because that's quite delicate, right? No.
It is. It is a little bit delicate.
Brittle. More brittle.
Yeah. But it's well, if you have the elite shungite, that's very brittle.
Okay.
But the little less elite shungite, it's not so brittle. But I love it. It's so cleansing, and that's shungite. Yes. And I made my son cufflinks for his graduation.
How do you clean shungite? Because normally when you touch it, you just do that, and you've got like. How do you polish it, or is it just natural?
It is natural. I just wipe the dust off it,
and that's it.
Yeah.
But if your skin gets like sweaty, and it will touch, and it'll mark you, right? It'll give you that powder.
This kind of, yes. But if I have the very, very raw pieces,
right,
natural pieces, they really smudge you.
Yeah.
But I wash them just in water and with a kitty toothbrush.
Right.
So I get the excess off.
Same with moldavite. If you dig for moldavite, like I sometimes get the moldavite fresh from dug, and I'm like, you have to brush them with a toothbrush. Yeah, but that's interesting, eh? What do you think to that? Pretty clever idea.
Oh, yes,
it is. Mobile phone holder. I think that when I saw I've got to have these, and I just like beautiful. I actually came up with the idea and mentioned it to a friend of mine, and he says, leave it with me, and it took him 3 months, and then these appeared. Like perfect. So nice. I was just saying, this was something that was given to me by a beautiful man, and I believe it's to do with Hindu. So I have loads of little beautiful gifts all over the place. It's just, I find them fascinating, and I find that anybody who gives me a little gift, it brings good energy to the room all the time.
It does.
I find that fascinating, how when somebody gifts with love, it really stays, and no matter what it is, what material it is, you can feel it.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, Jani. So everybody knows who you are now. We're going to put the link below so people can see your beautiful work. And hopefully somebody might say, oh, I'm really going to invest in a lovely piece. Can I ask you, Jani, if anybody's interested in saying, like, just for instance, I don't know, I know a lot of people who work with silver and jewelry, they kind of like have an idea of what they like to work with and what they don't want to do. So like, just say somebody, let's say somebody saw this now and thought, you know, I don't know where I'm going to get my wedding ring. I've always thought about an engagement ring or some ring that has a certain crystal in it, or two crystals or three crystals in it. And they wanted you to make it. Would that be something that you entertained or not?
Yes, of course.
Is there anything that you wouldn't entertain?
If some, let's say there are political issues, or if, you know, someone is very far right and wants say, okay, bad word, Nazi symbol.
Right. Okay. So
no.
Yeah, I get it. You're only, but then again, Nazi symbols in Thailand and Bangkok.
Yeah.
Is actually a beauty. It's been stolen.
Yes, it is
stolen.
It is.
So yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Anything nasty, but anything pure, loving, kind.
Exactly.
You're willing to work with your client.
Yes.
And what do? Do you kind of like say, okay, tell me what you want, and then will you do a drawing or start the work? And if they say, oh, it may be a little bit different, are you interchanging or adapting, or how would you go about it?
First, I would probably draw a couple of sketches.
Right.
And we would start from that.
Brilliant. So it's kind of a process to get to where you're going.
Yes. And I love working with people like that, you know, sending messages back and forth.
That's nice.
Working together so they can be involved in the making of the ring.
I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
It's easy walking into a shop saying, yeah, that one I'll have. But there's something about this, if somebody comes to you, which is so much more beautiful, I think.
And it's so easy to go in a shop and get that white gold ring that has been molded and casted in China, in Thailand, thousands and thousands and thousands of pieces.
True. Which has no real energy in my feeling. But then you can create the energy when you put it on, and that's when the energy comes into the ring. I remember a long time ago, it's really strange. I was with a girl and she said she knew somebody and who read people, and I wasn't into any of it, but I went with her, and she went in first, and then she says, please go in. So I went, okay. So I sat down and I had a ring on. Okay. And the woman says, can you take your ring off? I said, yeah. I took my ring off. She said, can I just hold it? She held it. And she said, your mother's here with 3 nuns behind her. And I just started crying. And like my mum had been brought up in a nunnery. And this woman could attune to the ring to me. And I thought, wow, this is quite beautiful. Don't really know how that works because I'm more of an energy person and feel you. But there's got to be something in that what you wear and what's on you holds a memory, not only of your present, but bloody hell, your past and your family in the spirit. I find that fascinating too.
But just like crystals, the noble metals, silver, platinum, gold, they have a memory too.
Yeah. Do you work with non-natural metals? What's titanium to you? Is it anything? Is it?
It's too hard for me.
Yeah.
It's so you just run a file through it and new file, please.
Okay, interesting. I don't have no idea. I just thought because if you want a piece, I've got a piece in here. I've got a nice long piece in here. I am titanium. Okay, guys, this is the point where we're going to throw out any questions. I hope you've enjoyed it thus far, and I hope you've had a really good conversation. So fire away. Have you got any questions for Jani? And we can talk amongst ourselves about any kind of crystal or anything that you'd like to ask Jani before we say goodbye. This is the time to ask. So we'll just wait and see if there's any questions. I hope you've enjoyed Jani today. I've really enjoyed your company.
Me too.
Jani. It's been lovely. And you know, it's getting used to your beard because I've never seen you with a beard before. So they want to know what your website is. So could you?
I think I'll just write it down because it's in Finnish.
Good idea.
And it could be a little bit difficult.
Oh, hang on. It might even be difficult if you do it. So because is there an at? Because I don't even know where the at is on this. This is Spanish. This is a Spanish keyboard.
Should be there.
Yeah, press it. Let's first of all try and get here.
We are so techy.
I am.
Me too. Oh, there it is.
Okay, so we can do it now. So go on then. Sorry, just fire away.
Up.
Yeah. No wonder you had to. You had to.
Okay, I think we have to put that
at
3 W's there.
Yeah. No, you don't.
No?
No, you don't. I don't think so. But do it anyway.
Yeah. Up. Thick fingers.
Try that.
Yeah, I should be correct.
Okay, I'm not going to press it, but there you go, guys. So there's the first question. Can you change the healing properties of a crystal by holding it and putting your intention into it? So Jani has maybe slightly different idea than me because I work on focused intention on my crystal for a certain frequency that I want to put in. Jani works on the crystal, and as he said, that while he works with a crystal, he believes his guides, spirit world, knows exactly what needs to go into the crystal without him even needing to think about it because they're working with him. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's exactly how it goes.
Right. So everybody has their unique way. There is no right and wrong. It's just what you feel is right. And I actually, it was like a penny drop moment when Jani said that. Totally makes sense. But I won't stop doing what I'm doing because I really enjoy working with crystals, just like Jani enjoys working with metals, right? We have our own unique ways. So that's how I would answer it.
But I believe that you can change if, for instance, someone has bought a crystal from you.
Yeah.
And you have programmed it, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I think that it can be reprogrammed.
You can. I don't think. My humble opinion isn't. It's not about reprogramming. It's like a computer. You can add as much information into that computer as you want.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what I meant. But you got the words.
But what I see is what I feel with a crystal is like you're just adding more of your energy, more of it. That's why I say to people, I have no issues with you touching my crystal, Jani. I have no issue.
Me neither.
I have no. Here, please hold that.
I will.
That was a choice piece that I'm working on.
It's a tanzanite.
It's a tanzanite, yeah, and cost me quite a lot of money. But I just love it to bits. And then
it's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, and these two. So I was working on these two, which these are slightly different. These are called azurite.
Yep. And
again, slightly different.
From Morocco.
Yeah, choice pieces, and I felt the energy of them and thought they were lovely and looked at the quality. Yeah. And I decided to invest in them. Yeah. So now I'm working on these, and
that's how I choose mine, how they feel.
Yeah.
But when I start to work on them, or mounting them, then the energy that needs to be getting in there gets in there.
I totally get it. I don't think what I was trying to say, guys, is that we all have our way of interpreting things, but in truth, what's happening is the same thing. We just see it differently. So we might work differently, but it still comes from the same place and the same source.
Exactly.
And ultimately, what we end up with is the same thing, but we just see it differently. And it would be great if people could see that. If people could see that, then there would be no fighting. There would be no arguing. It was like, yeah, it's all right. Everything that we're doing, it's all good. So there was a question here. What's the best stone you love to have with you? Jani, is there any particular one or...
No, not really. Some actually in the morning before I leave the house, I just take something that feels right at that moment.
Beautiful.
It could be an ammonite, it could be a meteorite, it could be moldavite, Libyan gold tektite, amethyst. Just what
Whatever
I feel
feels
drawn
right.
to.
Yeah, so that would probably be, for this next question, might be the same answer. What are your favorite crystals to combine in settings? Do you have a favorite?
No, I really don't have a favorite.
Yeah.
In that perspective.
That's great.
Because
I
love them all.
It makes sense. Totally makes sense.
Some are trickier than others, but I have no favorite, so to speak. Have you noticed that there is a very small amount of malachite in there?
Yeah. It's that when I bought them as specimens, so they were in cabinets.
Ah, okay.
So that, yeah, I'm not even going to tell you how much they cost. But question: how to clean a crystal that sits tight in silver and gold claw, please?
Depends on the crystal, but mostly you can't do a lot of harm if you use very mild, warmish soap water and a kitty toothbrush.
Right. So I'm very anti products in the sense of dipping them and bringing them out of this cleaning stuff.
No.
That's just my own personal feeling. The worst case scenario for me is
but that's for metal.
This. That's right.
Yes.
So I think that's what they were meaning, were they?
No, because crystal.
How to
crystal
cleanse a crystal that sits tight. How to cleanse?
Clean or cleanse, that's a little bit different.
I don't know. I'm stuck on that one. But for me, cleansing, clearing, maybe they're talking about cleansing the crystal. Yeah, maybe you're right. So you're talking about putting them in sea salt. So what I do is I have dry sea salt, and I put them in dry sea salt.
But there are some crystals that can't take salt.
Like what? Please tell us.
The soft ones.
The real soft ones.
Good for you. Opal, don't put it there.
Okay, good. I didn't know that, but
yeah.
The other thing is as well, like for me, I have certain crystals that I'll put on another crystal. So I don't know why, but I just absolutely love Moroccan clear, and it's very baby. It's like a baby quartz, and for some reason it feels pure, and I just put them in there and leave them in there. I do the same. Do you do the same? Yeah. So that's enough for me.
Or energetic
cleansing. Exactly.
But if you have, physical dirt or smudges on the crystal or on the mounting, then you just mechanical.
Yeah, a bit of like you're talking about cleaning the dishes soap.
Yes.
Right. It's like we call it fairy liquid.
Yeah.
Or even hand soap.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. So
but very, very mild.
Very mild. Okay, good. Well,
and of course, if the silver or the gold is tarnished, you just use the cloth.
I just use the cloth. So, and nice to hear that. I really like golden healer stone. Me too. Helps with tooth. Yeah, I've heard that many times before as well. Have you ever worked with golden healer?
I think I have some.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful energy. Jade is beautiful as well.
Yes.
Jade is quite strong.
It is
soft. It ain't soft.
No, it's a kind of like in the middle.
Yeah. I agree. Right, guys. I'm just trying to find questions.
Putting crystals in pink salt.
Pink salt. Here.
There.
What about putting crystals in pink salt? You're talking about Himalayan salt. Himalayan salt is exactly the same as sea salt, because Himalayan salt at one time used to be from the sea. So the Himalayas used to be full up with sea salt. That was my understanding. So it's the same, really. So I guess, but it's a great idea. I cleanse my crystals with sage. A lot of people do. Palo Santo. All of these things are great. I got a lot to learn, Mark. No, you haven't. We all have. Not just you. We all have. I do healing frequency music. Beautiful. And incense. Peter, absolutely. And just as a coincidence, tomorrow morning, guys, I'm doing a live with a beautiful Peruvian lady who is bringing her singing bowls. So that's going to be beautiful.
Singing bowl is a great way of cleansing your crystals.
Yeah.
Put them in and ding.
Yeah, exactly.
But not the brittle ones.
Not the brittle ones.
Because the bowl vibrates.
Vibrates so much.
Yeah.
What I find is that I've got like I could show it you. It's like a puff. It's like a miniature size pillow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you put it in and put the crystals nicely on,
yep,
there's no then you can do it without any effect, as long as they're not touching each other.
Exactly.
Because if they touch each other, the vibration is so much that they can actually crack. And I've done that before. So you have to be careful. But yes, absolutely agreed. Singing bowl therapy is amazing.
Good crystals for eyes. Like I said, I don't really know myself the properties of certain crystals. I just go for what I really feel like that I should take with me
when you work with a client.
Yes.
So it's almost like the client's been brought to you by the spirit world. The spirit world knows exactly what crystal you need for them. You will take that crystal without even knowing, work on that crystal, and whatever that client needs gets. That's how I work.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Exactly how I work. And funnily enough, I made a video this morning of a crystal that, funnily enough, I gave away this afternoon. Why? Because the person I gave it to them didn't know why. And then as I was going out, they said, do you have any crystals that are good for your eyes? And I'll say, well, I think maybe the crystal that you've got on might help. And I could have said to them, click on my last video, because on my last video, it was sunstone from India. And one of the things is that it's fantastic for your eyes. Now, that is exactly my life. That's how it works every time. And like I don't need to tell anybody. I don't need to prove it, because it's not me. It's just a natural spiritual flow that we're just in.
Yeah.
And we trust that.
Yeah.
We trust it. So, yeah. Okay, guys. How to charge crystals. I think we've kind of covered that really, and how we feel. X-ray machines at airports affect a crystal's energy.
No.
So it's a really good point, because what you're talking about is negative energy when all said and done. If you ever watch some of my past videos, you'll always hear me say that I have never come across a crystal that has ever had any negative feeling or effect. And it could be, and the most awful person could have had it. It could have been in the most terrible place with negative energy. But what I can say is that positive energy seems to be the memory that holds in a crystal, but negative energy has no effect. It's like healing people. You can either heal them or do nothing, right? But you as a person can actually be around that person who's in a bad place, and you can feel that energy. You as a person. But a crystal, I have never come across a crystal that has been affected in any way. People will argue, and they've argued with me, Jani, for years. Oh, this crystal was with my friend and she's horrible, and what do I do with it now? Well, nothing. The crystal's fine. The crystal's doing its job, and it's not going to hold negative energy. It doesn't. Crystals vibrate at a high frequency. You can't lower the frequency of a crystal to a low vibration, no matter what you do to it. You can scream and shout. You can get a blowtorch to a piece of quartz and watch what happens. Nothing, because it absorbs its energy, and still its touch is still cold. It's still beautiful. So what do you think?
Exactly the same way you do. You know, right. When we're talking about the X-ray machines, I would say that the crystal actually protects you rather than gets affected by the X-rays or the negative energy.
I don't know how you do it, because I've tried it and I've been told to take it off. Like, beep, take it off. Because when I'm wearing a crystal, it's normally on a pendant, which is silver or gold or copper, and then the machine goes off. So you have to go back again, take the jewelry off, and then go through it again. So I don't know. You might have a piece in your pocket. Normally, they tell you to clear your pockets out. I used to always put crystals in my pocket when I walk through, but so much these days, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel, I think when you work with crystals, I think there's something about working with crystals that strengthens your energy as well. So I don't know about you, Jani, but the more I work with crystals, the more I feel that I'm protected and I don't feel ill. I can't even remember the last time I was sick, and you said that, right?
Yeah.
There's something about working with crystals that keeps
and the energy,
and that keeps illness at bay. So maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but since I started working with crystals, literally I don't I fell off a motorbike. But actually I've been rushed to hospital, anything, nothing at all.
Yeah.
So working with crystals, I think there's something in it. I think there's something that they do to help us stay strong and strengthen our immune system, mind, thoughts.
Yes,
definitely.
Yes, and meditating with them, it just boosts it.
Yeah, there's something about meditating with crystals, eh?
Yeah.
And each meditation is different. So like people who say, what crystal would you use for this meditation? I say, you know what? I think you said it at the beginning. It's like I can pick up a beautiful piece of natural citrine, sit down and meditate with it, and attune to my mum in the spirit world or somebody else who comes forward like, oh my God, so-and-so's here. And I can have like a kind of conversation. Then the following day, I'll sit down with the same piece and I'll get something completely different.
Exactly.
So it's always been a struggle for me to write a book about crystals because I kind of be lying in a little way by saying, oh yeah, if you buy that crystal from that shop, it's going to do that for you, because it's not. Because if you ever came to did I ever show you, or did we ever do the experiment when I asked everybody to close their eyes and I put a crystal in everybody's hand and then everybody writes down what they felt from that crystal. And then I said to you, guess which crystal? You all had the same crystal in your hand. I just went from one person to the next.
Yes.
And everybody was slightly different with different thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
Surely that should make people understand that books are not always correct, and that the person who wrote about that experience was their experience.
Exactly. And I always like to say that these books and Bibles about crystals, they are sort of like half-truths.
Right.
Because every single piece, like you said, works differently with every single person.
Yeah. But then, I feel bad for people who write books, because it's like they're saying that I'm calling them, but I'm not. What I'm saying is that their truth is their truth.
Exactly.
And if you want to believe their truth, that's fine. No problem with it. I have the Crystal Bible. I had the Crystal Bible because I wanted to understand. I wanted to learn from it. And then I've mentioned it before. I was in Ibiza. I don't know if I ever told you I went to Ibiza, and there was one man there who had worked with crystals since he was a child, and he grew up, and he was somebody who worked with them like you, making crystals with different types of natural products. And so he was like a silversmith, goldsmith. And I don't know why, but we were talking about crystals, and he says, you've got the same kind of idea as me. And I said, yeah, because I work with crystals, and I don't look at I don't look at the Crystal Bible, and I'm not having a go at this lady at all. And he said, you know what, a true story? I said, tell me. I was interested in his stories because he was a crystal genius. He says, when I was younger and I used to be at the shows, there was a young girl who used to come over and ask us about crystals. And she used to write everything down. And it ended up being Judy Hall who made the Crystal Bible. So her understanding of crystals were actually everybody else's understanding of crystals. So that should tell you everything. So when I would never say to a crystal healer, what does this do? Because they work differently for every person. Exactly. So I can work with this beautiful piece, and then next client comes in and that's no good. I'll work with this one. So every piece is chosen for a certain reason.
Yes.
For that person. And then the week later, right, that same person can come back. That piece was done its job for the hour. It's done whatever frequency is in here to heal that person. Now I'll go for another crystal. Why didn't I keep going for the same crystal? Well, maybe their issue has gone, and now we're clearing another issue from their body.
Exactly.
So I find it fascinating. What do you think?
I feel and I think just like you.
And also, Jani, when you're working as a crystal healer, when you're working on clients, is there anything that has changed from when you first started, when you first became a healer, you worked with Reiki, to now, after doing different modalities? Is there anything that did you go in your own direction to heal in the way that makes you feel comfortable, or have you still picked up things from everybody else, or how do you work now as a healer?
Well, as a healer, and when it comes to crystals, I don't know, from the very start, I have had this habit that before the client comes in, I sit for a moment with my guides, and then I don't know why I pick certain crystals.
You're already set before you start.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
So it's okay, we need these 3 today.
Okay.
And someday it's okay, we need these 10.
And can I ask you, when you work with the 3 and you work with the 10, and the client comes in and you start the healing work, is it always 100%, or just sometimes it's like, actually, I got that they're no longer needed now, and then you work up with other ones? Are you open to always?
Yes. And sometimes if I have 10 here, it could be that I use only 1.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing that they give me. I see it as that they give me that these are good alternatives, but you don't have to use them all.
See, what I hear, Jani, is that you've got no ego at all, because you like me, I'm not sure from one moment to the next. So I'll do what you do, perhaps, and then I think, well, that doesn't feel right now, and I'll go for something else, which means it's your ego isn't controlling your actual work.
Yeah.
You're in the flow, and that's a beautiful thing. And a lot of healers will actually say, I picked them 3, they're the 3. That's it. They won't even consider anything else, even though there might be a little thing or a little feeling that, hey, maybe there's something. No, I picked the 3. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's what I found in myself. And I try to stop people from going there and saying, look, don't just go in the moment. Do whatever you want to do now. But when you start the healing work, be open to anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. Brilliant. Brother, it's lovely having you here. I hope I didn't talk too much, guys, but I get excited, and I'm not the best interviewer, but I do enjoy the company of beautiful souls like Jani. Do go to his website. I'll put the link below, and just take a look at the website, because I'll be honest, I like to look at Jani's work sometimes, and it gives me a lot of healing. And I think I do.
Thank you.
I've been there and I felt the energy of your website. It's very beautiful, and you've got some beautiful pieces, and you sell a lot of pieces, that I know, and you're doing really well in so many ways, Jani. And the progression from when I first met you to now, it's like I can see you've done some inner work. You've done a lot of inner work. I
think we all have to.
Yeah. You've changed a lot, which is a beautiful thing, and you've changed for the greater. And I still see so much. What's the word that I see from you? Not just kindness, not just openness, but humble. You're very humble, and to the point where that sensitivity is beautiful. But we are challenged because of that, because we want to stay humble, we want to love, we want to be kind, and we still have to live in a world of madness.
Exactly.
That's the hardest for us.
Yeah.
I'm not ashamed of saying I have a lot of tears sometimes. I have to try and understand the world, and I think the best place to understand it is when we're on our own.
Yep.
And when we're on the mountain, yeah, or in a forest, or in a field, when you're on your own. I think there's a lot of healing takes place. It might not be a day's healing, a month's healing, a year's healing. It could be lifetimes of healing. And I think we've gone through a lot of trauma. I think all of us have. So I think every day is a day that we should learn to heal. Crystals is a great way of helping us along that journey. It's not the answer. The answer is where? It's inside Jani. So we have to all jump into Jani.
Or you.
Yeah.
Actually, I think the answer we all can find in ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It is there. Sometimes it's just so buried under some debris that you just have to get rid of first before you can find it.
And it's so hard to explain that to people unless they've gone through the process. I'm kind of still halfway there. And there's there's days where I think, you know, we're really doing well and I'm really great. And then it's like somebody's pulled the rug from underneath me and like, what's just hit me today? And I think we're always targeted, all of us, we're targeted with above, with around us, within us. You know, there's always something. And that's what we have to work towards. But hopefully today has been a lovely reminder of how beautiful crystals are and how they work and how you should embrace them in your life and go to your local crystal store and just enjoy yourself in that store. I often say that it doesn't cost anything to go into a store and feel crystals, and they're happy for you to feel crystals. So there you go. And if you want a choice beautiful piece made because you're getting married or you want a beautiful piece for yourself, then head over to Jani's page. And I always say support the beautiful people in this world because they're the ones who deserve it. And Jani is definitely one of those people. So I hope you enjoyed it today, guys. Sending you all a massive hug. Thank you for being here. 136 gorgeous souls. Take care of yourself. Thanks, Alan, for your message. And I hope we did our little bit to help you today with thinking a little bit more deeper and pondering on some of the questions and answers and conversations we've had. Anything that you want to say, Jani, to these beautiful souls?
I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. It was so great to be part of this chat.
It was, even though I changed my top.
And hey, yes, for the gong.
Oh, yeah.
Someone asked you to.
Okay, before we go.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 times.
And I've never heard this before either.
3 times. It's a pretty awesome piece. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, bring it home with me.
Could wear it as a hat. All right, guys. We're wishing you all a lovely evening, whatever you're doing, afternoon and morning, wherever you are in the world. I'm going to now put this recording up on my main page, but I will leave this under the lives. So, yeah, link below to Jani's beautiful website. Have a most amazing, magical crystal afternoon, evening and morning. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, guys. I'm changing my top.